Darling, forever I would trade it for your love, your joy forever.
Phone poppy, yeah, she call me Young Poppy. That's my little shawty. She get thicky in the body. She got hottie toddy when she make it wet for me. Got that body on you, girl. You know I wanna play some hide and seek. You're someone that I wanna meet. You're someone that I wanna see. You're someone that I wanna see. And I got every idea in mind to get you poppin'. She said she just wants some liquor, so just stop it. I don't pop no pills or do none of that extra. I be chillin', smoking ganja with my niggas. I got so much, so many dreams, so many things to hold up. So many things on my mind. So many things to let shine.
Welcome back to Unrestricted Free Agent. This podcast is for the basketball purists, the ones with the love for the game, those who see the game wholeheartedly for what it is. I'm joined by my co-host, Mr. Marquan Botley, Big Shot Bot. Thank you for joining us today. Thank you for being on this journey with us. Like I said, we want to kind of explore into the ins and outs of our basketball careers, our journeys, what led us here, what got us to where we are today. And I appreciate you guys as fans for coming on this journey with us. We aren't podcasters by nature, so thank you for being with us throughout the growing pains and everything that we have to do. So first we're going to start off with Mr. Bot, telling us a little bit about his accolades and just bragging on himself a little bit. Tell us about your decorated accomplishments.
First of all, man, I'm super happy to be here. And as far as my basketball career, started out in Texas. I was super fortunate enough to play with some really good guys in high school, and through AAU, guys like Julius Randle, Matt Jones. I won 3 out of 4 state championships in high school. So that was crazy in itself. And after that, was granted a Division I scholarship to FAU, Florida Atlantic University, up in yeah, for sure, up in Boca Raton. And I had a crazy, wild freshman year there. Was made the all-freshman team as an 18, 19-year-old. Freshman of the week a couple times, 1 or 2 times.
So Quan Bot led FAU in scoring sophomore year, 13.1 points, had a string of 11 straight double-digit games among program leaders in assist to turnover ratio. So now we're going to Lynn. We transfer over to Lynn. All right. Sunshine State, and SSC ain't no joke for those of you guys who don't know out there, one of the best D2 conferences in the nation. Sunshine State Newcomer of the Year in 2017, Sunshine State All-Second Team, Sunshine State All-Newcomer Team, broke the program records for three-pointers in the season, three-pointers in the game for 10, 6th in the league in points per game in conference for 16.8, led the conference and 5th in Division II for three-pointers made per game at 3.73, and scored double figures in all but 3 games. If I forgot something, please let me know. But that's most of it. As we can see, that's a decorated playing career, a lot more than a lot of people can say. So just hats off to him for that, first of all, because as we talked about with the purpose of the podcast, that's meant to be celebrated. We got to make sure we tip our hats for that one. So next we're going to kind of go into, moving on and seeing all the success you had kind of throughout your basketball and playing career, right. And again, I know for a lot of athletes it's different where they're coming from depending on, where they stopped in their career, how college went for them, but just why you made the decision to not play overseas. And I know we had this talk, I remember right when you graduated, and even you were talking about fielding offers, and just why it made more sense to not and go into what you do now, which is, again, the player development business, and just how much joy you receive for that. So tell us a little bit about the decision. Was it hard for you? What were some of the growing pains in that? And just what led you to that decision ultimately?
Definitely. So right after my senior year, I'm here in South Florida still. I'm training. I hired an agent, and the process was moving a little slow. So in the meantime, I'm here training, and a good friend of mine, Casey Woleb, he reaches out to me and he's like, hey man, in your spare time while you're training, I got a couple kids that maybe you can train. They're interested in working with a player development coach. So that's how I got my start. I did it for probably a week or 2, and I fell in love with it. Yeah. You know what I mean? I found my love for the youth, something that I didn't know I had. I found my love for teaching the game. That's also something that I didn't know I had. So from there, I stuck with it. Once the offers did start rolling in, it really I built up such a passion for working with kids and high school kids and just teaching the game that I've excelled at. It was kind of the process was painless. It was like a no-brainer, honestly.
And so, for example, for that, and again, a lot of people out there may not know even just how the contracts work, and I feel like they kind of glorify overseas basketball, but everybody who knows the ins and outs and the grit and grind of it knows it's a struggle. It's like, you know, I feel like you go from high school to college, and college is a whole different grind, but overseas is a whole different grind too. So again, if you don't mind sharing, it's all up to you, but talk about, you know, some of the offers you were getting, because I know for a lot of players, including myself, financially, if it didn't make sense, it just wasn't worth it. And I know for a lot of players, you know, their first year contracts are always bad. It's not gonna be anything, you know, glorifying, but your goal is to kind of bet on yourself and build it up. But I know you started making pretty good money out the gate, and so how did that play into the decision?
So my first 2 contract offers, one was in a small country, I think in Eastern Europe, called Kosovo. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with
know that league, yeah.
And the contract was it was $1,000 a month, right? It was a 10-month contract, right? So $1,000 a month. They give me transportation, my housing's paid for, and they give me a grocery stipend. So they pay for my food, my transportation, and my housing, and I would pocket $10,000 over the course of the season, or, you know, however much I spent off that. And just looking at it from, like you said, I was already making like very good money here doing in my personal training business, and it didn't make sense to leave my country, my family, my friends to go play for $10,000.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And I think that's kind of the trade-off that people don't think about. And I think it's important, and you mentioned the most important part, that, you know, with the contracts, you got to think about it. And there's different deals for different leagues. But for the ones where, you know, they give you a car, like you said, you're getting a grocery stipend, you're paying rent-free, living rent-free, all those things, and it's all pocket money. In that case, you know, $1,500, $2,000 isn't that bad because you've seen all that money. You can blow it, spend it however you want. But, you know, there's some contracts where, you know, I've heard people saying this, and that's why I'm always like, man, you got to really weigh your options where, you know, you're paying for your own food, or, you know, you're renting an apartment, so your contract's going towards rent. You know what I'm saying? And so that's always just a cost-benefit analysis that people don't really consider. And some people get blessed, you know, their first contract, and they getting $3K a month, no expenses, all pocket. Hey, that's a little bit different to consider. But other ones, like we said, the first contract being, you know, $1K a month and things like that. Like, again, I'm not advocating for the 9 to 5. I personally hate the 40-hour work week. But if you're doing something you enjoy here, you know, where you're tied in, you have a network and all that stuff, it's a lot to consider to up and move that for money that's not life-changing money.
Definitely.
So just interesting that you brought that up. That's just a good point that I think players don't consider. So we have some rules for the podcast, just for the user experience and for our guests, that'll help you guys have the best experience and make sure so, you know, everybody has a good time. We're gonna go through all these rules. We're gonna kind of bounce them back and forth off of each other. So Quan, give us rule number 1.
Rule number 1, if you don't gas yourself up, we will. All right, so what that means is come on here, pretty much get in your bag, you know, speak freely.
Pop your gums, you know.
Brag on yourself. We have everything on the computer here, so we can pull anything up. So yeah.
And then rule number 2, one of the most important ones, this one is for my athletes with a decorated past. A lot of you guys, once again, we know what you've done. You know what you've done, but we don't want to kind of air that business out. So rule number 2 is do not incriminate yourself on this podcast. Once again, we pros at speaking in code, so we can say it without actually saying, if you get my drift. But so please don't incriminate yourself on this show. We don't want to play Fed games. We don't want to have anybody in any trouble. We don't want to get in trouble ourselves. So, you know, speak your truth, say what you got to say, but just don't incriminate yourself on the show.
Rule number 3, don't have a filter. We don't have to be politically correct up here. You know what I mean? We'll keep it professional, but, you know what I mean, don't be stiff, you know what I mean? Relax, loosen up, and just speak from your mind, speak from your heart, and it'll be good.
And then the last rule, one of the most important, especially for us athletes, especially for us who play sports at a competitive level, at all levels, especially a high level. The rule is if you slander somebody, whether in competition or you just flat out didn't like them, that right after you have to say something to uplift them, say something positive about them. I know there's a lot of beef that goes on the court. I mean, at the end of the game, it might just be chalked up to the game and that's it. But when you're talking and popping your gun on this podcast, a lot of it might come off as sour, and we don't want to put off that energy, especially out there on social media. So if you say something negative about somebody, whether you say, I busted him in high school, like I was cooking him. You gotta say after. It could be as superficial as, but he's one of the hardest workers I know, or he went on to have a great career. Just simple as that. Just leave it at that. You don't gotta say nothing else. We don't want to go through the golden rule of you're gonna nothing nice to say, don't say it at all. But you can film, you could rep your set on somebody without belittling them. So that's the 4 rules for the podcast. All right, now we're gonna go into kind of an interesting topic. Nowadays, again, they just passed this, and congrats to them because this was long overdue. We're gonna go into kind of the NIL for athletes, them getting paid, them getting sponsorships, them getting to that bag while they're still in college. Also motivating a lot of guys who might have wanted to go pro early to stay in college, and just how that changed kind of the game. And so I'm gonna ask Quan, as a decorated athlete that he was, how much do you think you would have racked up with the NIL? I can't speak for myself. I know they love me in St. Louis, but I might have got or led the conference in sponsors and hate mail at the same time. So just tell me how much you would have racked up. And I know you're the local love. You went to 2 schools in the same city.
Right.
So you might have got you a little bag on that one.
Yeah, no, for sure. I can't put an exact dollar amount on it, but I think I would have gotten a nice little bag, simply for the fact that I'm really in the community.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like I'm at local restaurants, I'm at the movie theaters, like anything within the South Florida community. I'm outside, as we say these days. Like I'm really outside. I'm in the community. I'm showing my face, and I like to think I'm a people person. So yeah, definitely. I think I would have made a nice little bag for sure.
All right, first sponsorship. You go into a business, you selling yourself as an athlete. Because let me tell you about mine. Again, the only people from St. Louis gonna know this, but if the NIL was there when I was in college, I'm taking my behind to Emo's Pizza. You only gonna know that if you're from the Midwest. And I'm asking for a sponsorship and a bag and a little coupon discount for 15% off because they ate that pizza up like it was the last thing on earth. That'd be my first sponsorship. I'd probably go to a few of the Chinese restaurants that we all had our money and sold our food at. Then I'd go to a ballpark down in St. Louis at Busch Stadium and tell them to sponsor me too. And that right there is at least $10,000 easily. So where would you go in Boca Raton to get your sponsorship? I have a few ideas of where I think you would probably go, but.
Nah, I'm gonna shock you with this one. So my first stop that I would go to on 20th Street, right outside of FAU. It's a little corner store bodega called Swifties.
I don't even know what that is, so
Bro,
you shot me for real.
Swifties makes the best Philly cheesesteaks.
But okay, but how often do you think college students would go there? Let's say it was a popping spot.
It's a popping spot if you like Philly cheesesteaks. I mean, I love Philly cheesesteaks. So, but you might be right though. But no, that was my spot. Top of my head, you mentioned food. That's something that I ate.
That's somebody you for sure would know. Would sponsor you too.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. I'm in there every 3-4 days. Yeah, you know what I mean? And with this NIL, I'm gonna present it to you. Look, you know what I mean? I'm gonna promote the heck out of these Philly cheesesteaks. You know what I mean? So definitely, I need that.
You can have your own, the Quan Philly cheese.
Definitely, bro.
You gotta have some extra toppings on that thing.
For sure.
And then so the next thing would be, how do you think the process is different for athletes now? And again, straying away from just the social media topic. I know for social media, they get so much more just attention. I remember when I was graduating senior in high school, I made my own. My coach put me in the little media room. I made my own highlight tape. And again, there was, Hoop Mixtape was around, but it was just so different. And now, I mean, I can name a million players who get mixtapes, before they turn a sophomore. You know what I'm saying? So just say how that kind of changes the process, just how that's a little different for athletes now and how they should, one, be able to use it to their advantage because, I mean, the question of, if you're good, they'll find you. I'm not gonna lie, that's not really 100, but I feel like now it's not the same or to say that if you're good, they're still gonna find you, but you're getting a lot more exposure that you weren't getting when I was playing, and I'm sure when you were playing.
So actually, it's my situation was a little crazy because playing with Julius. Julius
you was on the scene already.
Yeah, he drew so much attention, so I can kind of relate to how the athletes today are getting so much attention because I saw it with him. But the main difference that I think is players today have so much more control over.
Yeah, and so much more at their disposal. 100%.
Right. Yeah. Which way their career is gonna go. You know what I mean? If you look at from high school to college to all the way to the NBA, now players are demanding trades more. college guys are making moves on how much money they're gonna make. High school guys are deciding whether I want to go G League overseas. You know, when I was coming up, we really didn't have that many options. It was either college or overseas, pretty much. So.
Yeah, that's 100. Now to my favorite segment. We're gonna do this with all the guests and athletes. So Quan gets the first stab at it. We're gonna do the Family Feud style question game, lightning round. So the goal of this is eventually we're gonna post a poll on the social media pages, and do it the whole Family Feud style. Say we interviewed 100 hoopers, and you gotta guess what your answer is and what you think would be the most surveyed answer. So we just gonna go over these. You can elaborate as much as you want. I'm probably gonna go back and forth with you on a few of these. Okay. So the first question is, would you rather score a game winner in a home or an away gym? This was on social media. I saw this, and that was actually a really good question.
I think it's easy. I'd say home.
That's not easy. I was gonna say away.
I think it's easy, and I'm gonna tell you why. Peep, I probably got my girlfriend at the game. I got all my boys at the game. Maybe a few professors at the game who I gotta sit in class with the next day, and I think it'll just bring away from the win personally, on campus and things like that, it'll just bring so much positive attention and energy. So I'd rather share it with the home crowd.
I'm saying away because, again, maybe I'm just arrogant, but I'm trying to pop my gums. Like the moments of Kobe, winning the buzzer beater, and he, you feel me, goes like this, or Wade hopping on the even though that was a home game, but Wade hopping on the stands. Like that to me is like that's the moments you live for. You know what I'm saying? Like a big hoorah. I almost said what I wanted to say, but I didn't say it. A big forget you to, you feel me, the away team in their stadium with their fans who probably been popping their gums the whole game, been talking their mess. They parents, they coach, and the players who you might, you feel me, not like. So I'm going away all the way. I'd love to do an away game.
I feel it.
Next question. This one, we got some. You got some real stories about this. Would you rather have to ride home with your pops or your girl after a bad loss? I'm talking about like you got the doors blew off of you.
As a competitor, I'm gonna go and say my pops. The reason I'm gonna say my pops is because your girl's probably gonna, baby, it's okay. Like you didn't do that bad. I don't want to hear all that. You know what I mean? Like if I'm serious about my craft. If you're lucky enough, Pops is going to tell you, this is what you need to do, this is what you didn't do. You know what I mean? He really might get on you and snap something into you for the next game. So, for sure.
Yes. Yeah, that's same answer. So, again, I feel like every athlete's different. For me, like after a loss, like I'm shut down. Like once the buzzer sounds, like I'm already in my head about what I could have done better, what we need to do next game. And like my teammates know, like after games, I either would stay in the gym and shoot, or like we'd go back to the apartment together and we'd all go into our rooms and they know I'm just up, like I'm just focused. And so even from high school, I swear, my dad, after game, I remember we lost regionals, and my dad, he knew me so well to a T that, after the game, he put his hand on my shoulder and he said, "You all right, champ?" And he said, "You want to talk about it?" And I didn't answer him. And he said, "All right." And we sat in the car for at least an hour before we even moved. And he knew that I was just decompressing in my head. Like, to me, that's love. Like, if it was my, if it was my girl, and like you said, they mean well. I ain't got no girl, but I mean, normally they mean well. But
throw that out there.
That would just,
My man,
shameless plug.
He's single.
But normally, what they think is helping is not really helping.
Right.
And like you said, the whole like, it's okay, like it's gonna be all right. Like I ain't trying to hear that, dog. Like we just got the doors blew off of us. Like, especially if I have a good game, like please don't talk to me like off rip. Like don't talk. And especially like no offense, but I don't respect your basketball opinion. Like I don't want to hear what I could have done better, dog. Like you should have shot more. Like I'd be ready to like, come on, bro. Like that's not gonna help me. So the next question is, and I know you have an interesting story for this. Would you rather forget your jersey or your shoes on an away game? And I have a lot of people, CJ, a few of my guys that did this regularly. So which one would you rather forget?
Can I get in my bag?
Yeah, get in your bag.
So I'm gonna go ahead and say shoes. I would rather forget my shoes on an away game, and I'm gonna give you guys a quick little story. You touched on it earlier. I had a game in college, probably my best career game, where I set the school record for three-pointers in a game. I had 40 points. We probably took a 6 or 7 hour bus ride to the game. I'm sleeping the whole time. We get to the arena, in the locker room, everybody's changing. I open my bag, I don't have my shoes. Right? So I'm sitting in the back in the locker room, coach is talking, I'm kind of hiding. You know what I mean? I'm hiding behind my teammates because I don't have my shoes. I don't know what I'm gonna do. So luckily, we had our women's team. They were at the arena as well, and the center from our women's team, I had to borrow her shoes, and I played the game in her shoes. And
What size she wore?
She wore a 10 and a half.
Oh, that's kind of clutch.
Yeah, she wore.
What size you wear?
10 and a half.
Dang.
Yeah. So it worked out perfect, and the shoe was way more comfortable than the shoe that I had originally. So yeah, I forgot my shoes. I took her shoes, and I had the best game of my whole college.
You should have
career.
bought them off her.
I tried to. That's the crazy thing. I tried to, and she was like, "Nah, like I'm not gonna put." Amazing girl, right? I'm not breaking the rule. But she was not trying to give up her shoes, so she probably thought she would get 40 or something. But I don't know. Yeah, for sure.
So once again, I'm opposite with you. I'd rather forget my jersey. One, because I'm not superstitious about like numbers and stuff like that. And again, I feel like there's been times where somebody ain't got their jersey. Again, no offense, but the person who don't play, you gotta come up off that. I need your jersey, straight up. Like I don't care what it is. It might be a number 50. Like I need that. But shoes, bro, I only play. Well, I didn't only play because we had team shoes some year. But I loved only playing in Kobe's, man. So like if I forgot my shoes and I had to wear somebody else's shoes, I'd be sick, like sick. And bad shoes changes your whole game. If your feet don't feel well, it's a mess, dog. So and my team was weird. Like we had my teammate Tev, he only played in J's, every single J. And like I would tell him, like I don't know how you do that. Like looking at you makes me want to turn an ankle. Like I can't do that. So if I had to ask one of them for their extra shoes, like I'd probably be sick. So I'm forgetting my jersey all day. The next question is, what motivates you more, opposing teams bench heckling or the fans? So like which one gets you more in your bag when you hear it? You know, the opposing team's bench or the fans?
I think the opposing team's bench definitely gets me in my bag a little more. Because first of all, you know what I mean? If Buddy was like that, like you'd be out here. You know what I mean? And second of all, when you do get out here, like I'm gonna make you like live what you're talking about right now. So I definitely think I would say the bench for sure.
Yeah, we're gonna agree on that one because 100%. I feel like, again, I agree, fans do impact the game, but like more so at the free throw line than anything. But like during the game, like I'm never even like focused on the fans. Like they could be saying whatever they want out there. Half the time I probably don't even hear them. But the opposing team's bench, man, that's like you key in on that one. You're so close to them, and you know how it is because you know how I went to your guys' game. You know how your bench was.
Right.
So you know how the other team's benches were. So those are the things you keyed in on. Actually, my first tech freshman year, I had this on film. I actually posted it a few times. We were playing at Missouri S&T. I'm a freshman, so I'm hyped, like playing. And my homie CJ did a nice move. He kicked it to me on the wing. And again, like you a freshman, ain't no scouter report or nothing like that. So they was like, no, he can't shoot. Like he's not a shooter, this and this. And I remember, so I caught a catch and shoot 3 on the wing and hit it, boom. And they were like, before I shot it, they were like, oh, that's off. Like he trashed. So I hit it. I turned to the bench. I was like, what was that? Beep. Quick tee. Quick bench. Didn't play the rest of the game. I was so hot. I was so mad, bro. That was my first time. That's when I knew, like, yeah, like a fan could have said whatever they wanted to me. I wouldn't have reacted like that. But because they were right behind me, like, I remember I looked at the coach, I looked at the players, and of course the same ones who was popping their guns like, tee him up. So, yeah, all the way, heckling bench, 100% is worse. And the last one, what was your go-to celebration or signature when you was in a zone or a groove? It don't got to be shooting the arrows, but like, was there a gesture that you did when like you knew you was just hot? Like it was like all right, like I'm feeling good.
That's crazy. My go-to like celebration when I'm hot, weirdly enough, is no celebration. Like I'm just,
you just locked in,
blank face, stare at you, and just.
You got a little
like,
grimace, like you got.
I got a little like.
I'm
gonna just stand there and just kind of flex on you in so many words, because I think silence kills. I think that hurts way more than, oh, I'm killing you. I'm gonna just kill you and just not say it. I'm gonna just look at you like crazy, like you know our communication.
Like Katie, you know who I am,
right,
dog.
Like you already know, so definitely for sure.
Yeah, for me, I kind of agree with that. I feel like the only thing, and I watched my film a million times. I feel like the only thing I do, and my teammates will get a little laugh because they know exactly what I'm talking about. is when I know like if I have a mismatch, I know I'm about to cook you or something like that. I always do it after I hit the shot because I hate pre-anticipated celebrations, dog. Like, don't do that. Like,
Right.
But after I hit the shot, if I'm going to run, dog, I always just shake my head running down the court. Like when I'm backpedaling, I'm just shaking my head, and you see me shaking my head too. Like it's like you can't hold me. And there's a few more of them coming your way. So that's always like what I do when I get in my bag. It's always like a little shake your head. I'm not gonna say nothing to you. I don't care about talking. I don't feel like that's anything from me. I know players who get off on that. Like I'm not one of those players. But always running down the court, I'm gonna shake my head, and that's just like as my teammates know, like they're like, okay, like Ojo's here, like he's here, he's with us today. So that's really it for that one.
I'm gonna piggyback off you a little bit right there. I know you mentioned like bench heckling and celebrations.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give a shout out to my man's Morgan Garrison, aka Morgan the God. He's the best celebration.
Shameless plug.
Hype
I would say him and Maul. I see him and Maul do some crazy things.
Bro, they're gonna heckle you, crazy celebrations. So shout out to them for sure.
100%. So another interesting part of this podcast is that every single episode, every single week, we're gonna be wearing, well, more so me. I know Quan will probably hop on board, but we're gonna be wearing an article of clothing from whether it's a friend or someone we know's clothing line. So for example, today I have a runway hoodie on. A good friend of mine, Terrence, doing amazing things. Actually, my high school teammate, one of my favorite teammates and best friends. So I have one of his hoodies on, and again, we'll always post a link in the comment section of the video, everything like that, and that's for everybody else as well. I know a lot of friends who are doing amazing things with their clothing brands and clothing lines. So if you guys want us to shout out anything you have, if you guys want us to buy, and we'll always buy clothes off you. We don't want no free packs or anything like that. But if you guys want us to, shout out your clothing line or sport some gear during the episodes, please shoot us a message or shoot us a DM. That'd be greatly appreciated. So for this one, like I said, shout out to Runway, shout out to LT. If you like it, again, check it out. We'll post a social media page and stuff like that. Shop with them, support black businesses. So the call to action for this week, we're just talking about kind of just putting back good energy into the world. So the call to action is just to pay it forward. Whatever you have to do, do something good for somebody else this week. Receive your blessings tenfold by putting it out there. So whatever it may be, and please, if you do, or if you can, just tag us, tag Unrestricted, FA_pod on Instagram or the Twitter, in the caption or whatever in the story, just to show us that you're doing something and hopefully that you're motivating somebody else to do something as well. We're always trying to get out there, whether it's in our community, in our network, in our circle, with our friends and the people that we know, and just doing something well, and doing something good that can benefit somebody else. So please make sure to do that. And then our sponsor message, this is big for the upcoming season.
For sure, I want to give a shout out to BBD, which is Ball by Design. It's a basketball company and travel youth basketball program that I'm partnered in, partnered with my boy Casey. So yeah, that's Ball by Design out here in South Florida. Check us out.
We're super excited for you guys joining us on this first season. Make sure you follow the social media handles. The Instagram is unrestrictedFA_pod, and the Twitter is unrestrictedFA1. As I said, thank you guys for tuning in. Hope you guys got to laugh and enjoy it with us. We have a great season ahead. Looking forward to that. If we can help you guys with anything, any questions you guys have, any sponsor messages, any questions about training, recruiting, whatever it is, please shoot us a DM on social media. Once again, appreciate you guys coming out. Signing out from me and Quan. Our closing remarks. We're going to ask all our guests the same thing as well. So the question is, if you got to make a shot from half court, you got 5 tries. If you make it, you get a meal. But if you miss all of them, you do 30 years in jail. Would you take the deal?
Man, let's get this money. I'm taking the deal.
Are you willing to take the risk?
I'm taking the risk.
Make me a deal, dog. We finna record that. We finna let y'all see if he made it or if he's going to jail. All right?
All right, ready? Let me know when you're good. You good? Yeah. Hey, right out. All right. We got 5 tries. Try 1. Jayla, look at his top. I am 50 years. Jayla, look at his top. Oh, there it is. There it is. Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. That was looking lucky. Come on. 3 more tries.
So many dreams, so many things to hold up. So
We're
many
super
things,
excited
so
for this
many
first
things
season
on
of the
my
podcast.
mind. So
For
many
our
things, so
social media,
many
please
things to
follow us
let
on
shine.
Twitter. It'll be unrestricted_FA pod.
No.
No? I fucked it up. That's Instagram. Ready? All right, I got you.
Oh, God.
I got you. All right. A couple times, 1 or 2 times. I fucked that
Yeah,
up.
that's you forgot to stop. Now keep it rolling. Keep it rolling. I knew he was going to do this. So here we go. So now I'm going to read off the list, all right?
Yeah,
I knew he was going to mess up on that.